I don't like that. Sophisticated man, that's who I am. I walk around, I stroll. I look to the left, I look to the right. And when you look back at me, and I said, show you're right. You become afraid. That's what it is.
That's already blessed to you, and the energy that's already here for you, because you are an energy being and you come from an perfect energy source. So all of this stuff is available for you for your benefits.
Motivation Mondays on Transform You Live Radio with your host, Minister Dr. Marcus Hart. Transform You Live, the only place where real transformation is. Broadcast.com. That's transform.broadcast.com. For more information on Marcus Hart and other exclusive services and events, visit MarcusHartEnterprises.com. That's Marcus Hart Enterprises.com.
Hello, my people. We are back. Like we just came back from the future. So we're here in the now. So we got an awesome another segment. We are having Motivation Mondays. Can I get a hey now for Motivation Mondays? And we are feeling motivated, and we're going to get a lot more motivation. So we're going to get that huge push. We had Diane Collins on earlier, and then I did a little 30-minute segment for everyone, too. And for those who are listening, if you are not part of the Transform You community, make sure you head over there right now. Well, don't do it right now. Head over there after this is over. After this segment is over, make sure you head over there and get signed up right away with a free membership. That's Transform You, the letter U, broadcast.com. So Transform the letter U, broadcast.com. Get yourself a free membership so you can be a part of the world's leading experts as well as their friends, my friends, and bring along your friends so we can all be friends. And let's begin to restore our voice together and our power together so that we can make transformation in our lives. So as far as updates are concerned, I do have a little bit of a small update. So those who are blessed to be able to be here right now with us and join on live with us, you may have been able to do that because I shared it on Facebook as well as my personal Twitter. Yeah, that's the hit there. So typically most people find this broadcast or this podcast rather, whatever you like to call it. I call it the broadcast. That's what I call it personally. Usually they find it by invite. They find it by invite or because they are already a member of the community. But what I'm doing, if you are already attached to me, if you are already a personal and you know me or you're following me or you've been tracking me or you're just being stalkerish, whatever the case may be, you have the opportunity to, just press play when you see the link pop up on the Twitter news feed or the Facebook news feed. Also, the Google Plus feed, too. So those are three little inside ways and hint to be able to join us live. Or if one of the guests happens to share the link, too. That's another crucial way. So that way we're not missing anybody, and that way after you get a chance to hear this awesome information, all this content that's being delivered to you to make transformation in your life, you can make the great decision to come on board and join us and be part of this huge community that's growing and trending daily. I'm talking about we seeing new members left and right join us, and I love it. It's fabulous because that means that they take their transformation very personal. It's a personal thing, and it should be a personal thing. Don't transform just because I'm telling you. Make the conscious decision to do it. So that's the little bit of the update, and that's a very huge update. I'm very thrilled about it because it's going to do wonders. We're going to begin to change some people's lives. That word. I don't like the word change. We're going to be able to transform some lives. So with this said, let's go on to what we are here for right now at this very moment. What we are here for, we're here to welcome a very huge guest. It's a blessing to be able to connect with this guy. I had the opportunity to connect with him and talk with him more before, this recording started. And, he reached out to me, too, through social media. And, that's fantastic. I love, when guests take the initiative and just reach out. It shows the sincerity of the person. It shows the true intent of the person. We learned about intent earlier. It shows the person's heart and nature. Those are the people we need to surround ourselves with and connect with. And the biggest part of this, we both belong to the Public Speakers Association. If you don't know about the Public Speakers Association, make sure you get acquainted with the Public Speakers Association too. There's a lot of awesome persons on within the Public Speakers Association group. So shout out to Tanya Hoffman too, by the way, who's an awesome person. But anyways, Fox Beyer, he is not only a PSA member, he's an author, speaker, teacher, and coach. He has a very compelling story that he wants to share with us all. He usually tells the story by reciting poetry from his book. So he does have a book that he will tell us more about, and make sure just like other people we have had on the guest, that you pick up the copy of the book and dive into it right away. So without further ado, let's hear it up for Fox.
Thank you, Dr. Hart. Good. How are you?
Oh, there you go. There you are. You there? I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing well. It's great to be here today on your broadcast, and ready to have some fun and hopefully spread hope to a lot of people around, people that are listening and around the world.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Fox.
I am, again, like Dr. Hart said, my name's Fox Beyer, Fox like the animal, and I am a teacher. I teach high school Spanish in New Jersey. I'm an author, like Dr. Hart said, of a book called Letter Kindling, Igniting, Inspiring, Invoking the Fire Within. It's a compilation of just poetry that, if you know me, it is about me, but hopefully it's for every man. Hopefully, if you do read it, you can relate to each and every one of the poems that I've written. Some are provoke thought. Some are, many are motivational. A lot are about nature. Some are humorous. I'm also a baseball coach. I am the bench coach for the Somerset Patriots in the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. We're cranking up our season here, April the 24th. So if you're in the area, around Morris County, Somerset County here in New Jersey, come on out and see us. And I do every week around the area, do a lot of open mics where I recite my poetry in hopes of helping people be themselves, or if they need to, transform themselves and turn their lives around.
Definitely. Wow. Fantastic stuff. You're doing some heartfelt stuff here, and we greatly appreciate it. We need more people like you. So I'm just very thrilled to hear that you're a poet. I got this thing for poets. I tend to be a poet junkie and starstruck fan. Would you mind reciting some poetry for us?
Dr. Hart, I've got one for you, and it's about a situation between a friend of mine and I. We were taking a ride. He asked me a question, and this is what happened. It was me and the boss man taking a ride. Murky and dark as we looked outside, and so to make our connection, he turned and he asked me a question. He said, "Fox, if you had one wish and nothing more, what would it be that you would ask for?" For a minute, I sat and I wondered. And then he began his out-loud ponder. That, "Fox, a lot of us are drawn to material, but I know something I long to feel. It's not just experience, it's insight. It's taking notes on even a past hindsight. It's a must for any man. I must get it however I can. If I had a bag, I would toss you some. Oh, how I long for a daily dose of wisdom."
Nice. Wow. I love it, man. I'm blown away by it.
Yeah, we were just taking a ride home, and he said, "Fox, if you could have one thing above anything else, what would you wish for?" And he really had me at lockjaw, and I didn't know what to say, and he started talking about wisdom and how if he had that, he had everything. And I thought, wow, that's probably something I need to be writing about. And it came out shortly thereafter, and it's one of my favorite ones to recite, for sure. So Fox, man, it really touches something, dear home to me. It really,
like reminds me just, what I read through Proverbs and in the Bible and through Scripture and just and through studying other religions too, how the importance of wisdom. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think that in a simple sentence, experience is the best teacher, and we need to, as we go through life and the quote-unquote trials and tribulations of life, we need to learn from experience, and we can learn from other people even if we're learning what not to do.
Definitely.
And I think there's a lot of logic in the fact that we have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, and how the power of how much stronger input can be than output. Use experience to help you always, regardless of how young or old you are.
Nice. I love it. And sometimes people, like they look at experience in a backwards way. In my opinion, they look at it more as, okay, well, if you don't have experience, you're not qualified. What do you tell people who often get discouraged by that, and they are led astray, or they stop pursuing something because someone tells them they don't have enough experience?
No risk it. No, if you don't risk it, no biscuit. You have to try. There's a poem in my book that kind of notes this. It's called Step, and it's about recovery. And I'm really just trying to say in the poem, just from experience, if you fall down, look up, because if you can look up, you'll get up. It's as simple as that. I've through my life, I was born cross-eyed and had a couple of surgeries to repair my cross vision. The first one didn't work. The second one did work. The third one worked as well, but I was playing baseball at my grandmother's house, and I threw a ball up in the air, and I fell back, and I hit my head, and my vision went back the way it was before surgery. I went in for another one, came out worse, and sorry to say that surgeon is now in jail for malpractice.
Wow.
But what happens to this day now is that if I'm talking to you, you might not know that I'm looking at you, because it looks like I can't look at you with both eyes at the same time. So it sort of has this opposite effect where one eye is just wandering. And so people take their own perceptions of that. And I wrote about that in my book. It was a poem called Sideways Perspectives. But some may read it and think it's about totally something completely different than that. I'm just trying to say, probably most of the time, seek to be accepted for who you are. Don't try to be hip. Don't try to be somebody you're not.
Definitely. And wow, you just gave us a nugget there. You just gave us something that, really can begin to motivate us to just come out of what we were most. Some people try to hide, behind deformities. You name it, whatever it may be. What type of encouragement do you offer those people? I know you just gave us one. But what other encouragement can you offer?
I think we in today's world, and I don't do this enough as a teacher, catch people doing something right. Again, catch people doing something right. Sometimes, I would say most of the time, the greatest form of motivation is encouragement. We're so, taught to opposite of kind of what we were falling into. Catch people doing something right.
Definitely. Great. Was there ever a time in your life where, you was looking for some type of ounce of motivation to get some type of inspiration to move forward?
Heck yeah, the alarm went off this morning. I didn't want to get up. I said, about 38 degrees and the snooze goes off, and I'm like, oh, doggone it. The clock came pretty quick. And I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think I've gotten up when the alarm has gone off for the first time in months. Hopefully with the spring I'll be able to do that, but eventually I do get up. Eventually I clean myself up and get rolling. I mean, I'm not telling you that I have a perfect smile all the time, and I don't. I look for motivation every single day. That's one of the reasons why I write all the time, because sometimes the other side of me says, Fox, you have got, off your butt and on your feet. You got to get up so we can eat, man. I mean, it's like my other person talking to me. It's not easy. I have I'll get my shoes on and say, I'm probably the only one I know around this area that has to actually sit down and put his shoes on all the time. I could picture a lot of people, they have work shoes with no socks. They can just stand up and while standing up, put their feet in their shoes and head on. I mean, I envy those people. I can't do that. I probably will never be able to do that. What nags me the most probably are these little tiny things like I said, putting your shoes on while standing up. I mean, getting dressed while standing up. I have to actually take my time to do that. In airports, when I go through the security checkpoint, I'm 37 years old, and there's a bit of embarrassment that goes through me because when I take my shoes off, I've got to find a spot to lean on or sit, and I've got an entire village behind me wanting to get to their flight, and I tell you what, as old as I get, it does not go away. I keep thinking, what's an easier way to do this so I don't draw any unnecessary attention to myself? So I mean, writing is become empowering to me. I think a sense of humor is also a weapon for sure. Many things, but the small little things they light a fire under me every day. It's not necessarily those huge things, not getting noticed at a party when I was younger, or not being the best player on the baseball team. It's not those things. It's the small things, getting up and down steps, for sure, at places, and putting my shoes and socks on every morning. God, is it ever going to get any easier? No, but maybe through this, I'll be able to write something or create something that will connect with people.
Nice, I love it, and that's the type of things people need to hear. They need to hear that they're not alone, and that there's people, and if you look at that metaphorically, there's also more people who struggle to put their shoes on while standing up,
exactly,
and you right, and what you did, you turned it around. And you use it to empower yourself, and I love it, man. So writing was the very thing that it would be fair to say that writing was the very thing that helped you to just really move away from the negative outlook on this.
Yeah, I think, Dr. Hart, the monster is out of the cage. Negativity, it's all around us, and I spend my entire day. I try to tell myself. I read this in a book. It's called The Mental Game of Baseball by Harvey Dorfman. If you have a negative thought, employ the 8-second rule. Okay, you cannot let this thought fester for more than 8 seconds, and you've got to get it out of your head. So I'm constantly working toward that. I'm being honest with myself. I think we all have a right to our feelings, but if something negative like that gets in my head, anything at all, I try to push it off of me. Because bottom line, as a teacher, you want to be this positive, upbeat, enthusiastic model, and you can't. You've got to be honest, but at the same time, you have got to be upbeat, because I believe your best tool as a teacher is your enthusiasm. But to say that I don't have negative thoughts, I constantly have them. I do, but I punch back. Bottom line is, I do punch back all the time.
Wow, and we got to, and we are just blessed that you continue to punch back. So you wouldn't even be here right now if you wasn't punching back. So, and man.
Yeah, my arms work pretty good. I got a pretty good left hook. I'm pretty much a stationary target. I don't move around too much. So Either Muhammad Ali or rope-a-dope and just throw haymakers all day. But yeah, I do.
Awesome, man. I love it. So what type of humor that you use for yourself? You know, is it comedians or or you got a favorite joke that
I probably use self-deprecating humor so much it's to a fault. I like to say that I'm so slow I have to speed up to stop. It's one of those deals. So I'm not going to be a track star, but I do have, if you can stand it, I do have a poem in my book called Pimples to Wrinkles. It's about me, and it's just jokingly, looking at myself in the mirror. Yeah, sure. It's about me looking myself in the mirror today and saying, doggone it, we got to get this fixed. And then going back 20 years ago, I'm a junior in high school and saying, doggone it, we got to get this fixed. But for two totally different reasons. And it's called Pimples to Wrinkles. It's 11th grade. Yeah, it's 11th grade. I look in the mirror and I could cry. My face is so pimple-laced and dry. Going out, I just dread. I'd sooner put a bag over my head. My face was the ultimate roadblock. At a single glance, my grill could stop a clock. If you say it looks good, yeah, only in the darkest subway station. It's got so many craters as seen on the longest space exploration. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. Oh, that sun when I was 21. There's a cute girl there I do want to meet. Tell me, Dr. Hart, how do I get rid of these crow's feet? I close my eyes and I wake up. I'm 37 years old, and what the heck? Going out, I just dread. I'd sooner put a bag over my head. From Clearasil to Botox to all the fixings to roadblocks, from pimples to wrinkles, life without mirrors would be a lot more simple.
Nice, man, beautiful. I love it.
I mean, you're a young guy, but do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I oftentimes feel that way. Yeah, like looking back on some of the things, and like man, I just wish that some things I didn't have to look at and remember.
You can be honest with me. You can be honest with me and say, Fox, I'm going to tell you what, I look good, and each day goes by, I look better and better and better. I mean, you can be honest with me, but I feel like a lot of people feel that way. But it's not. I'm not depressed in any way, shape, or form. But that there's truth to that for sure.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking to people, what is usually like the first thing that come to mind that when you're getting up and speaking in front of people, what is usually like the first thing that come to mind that you instantly feel like you need to tell them or share with them?
Sure, it's a good question. I try through my words and anything that I do to please judge me and others from the neck up. And it takes time. Don't judge me in 10 seconds. Give it time. We are so prone to judge simply by what we see from the neck down. Why can't we change the way we think and transform the way we think? By thinking,
keyword.
Keyword. I try to reiterate that for our listeners. Transform the way we think by judging people from the neck up, and that takes time. We exercise patience, let things marinate a little bit, and give our intelligence a chance. That's probably what I try to impose on people the most, and it's not necessarily either so much what people say; it's what they do. I look at people that I idolize, pattern myself after. Not necessarily things that they said. It's how they acted in situations, especially in situations of pressure that do reveal character. Pay attention more to what people do than what they say.
Exactly. Wow, man, that's powerful. That's a message that we all need to be reminded of. I wish more people thought like you, man.
Well, I remind myself like that every day. I mean, every day is a battle. Whether it's 60 and sunny or 30 and rainy. I mean, every day is a battle. But what we're doing now, it's an opportunity to kind of re-energize not only, hopefully, who we're talking to here, but myself, for sure.
Right.
You're going to find a way to pick yourself up. No one's going to do it for you. There's not going to be a guy coming in here on a horse to come pick you up. You've got to do it yourself, and we are much more powerful than we realize.
Man, we probably all wish we had a horse.
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely do.
I'll take that.
I take a horse any day of the week. Those suckers, it's my favorite animal by far. No question about it. But it's so hard for me to get on and off a horse because it touches my hips so much. It's actually one of the best forms of therapy for those with CT. But for sure, I'd love a horse that knew me and I knew it, and that would only ride with me on it, for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of horses, going back to what you mentioned earlier, with experience being the best teacher, would metaphorically would our horse be, the experience, or would just the ride, that we're going on be the experience itself?
I think that a horse can take you into experience, man. It can show you things because, bottom line, that animal can go where humans cannot, for sure. So it would lead you into experience. I mean, and obviously, as we know now, an affinity for horses. I've ridden a couple of them in my life. Actually, even wrote a poem in my book. It's called "A Sharp Knife and a Pissed Off Cow," and it's about the experience you have on a cattle drive. And I got it from the TV show Alaska: The Last Frontier. But boy, I definitely do have an affinity for horses, and it goes back to my dad's affinity for horses. He had 2 horses in his lifetime that I know of. One called Sonny Boy, who, believe it or not, this horse on Christmas Day when you escaped the stable, and him and his sister and his brother-in-law had actually charged him. So he turned this horse in, even though he loved it so much, and he actually rode a horse named Diablo a couple of days later, loved it, was going to buy it, and unfortunately that night the stable burnt down. And I'm reminded probably a couple of times a year by my dad of that experience and how much he loves horses, and he really has passed it on to me, even though I haven't ridden much in my life. But I love that animal. I really, really do.
Wow. Powerful, man. And it's so beautiful, man. The way you describe that, just your experience growing up there and how you put put so much, pride on the horse, it's beautiful, man. I love people who just connect nature with the way life is.
I'm certainly not going to mess with it.
Yeah. Yes. So, we just about looks like we're just about 3 minutes here, man. What's the absolutely best way to connect with you if the listeners want to connect with you?
Absolutely. I have a website, foxkbeyer.com. I will spell it for you. FOX, like the animal, K, BEYER.com. And there are links to follow me on Facebook. Facebook page is there. Google Plus, Twitter, LinkedIn. It has a page on my website for my book about me as a teacher. Let's see, a link to my Podbean and iTunes account. Some of these poems you heard, and most of the poems that are in my book are on a free iTunes account, our iTunes podcast account that I have for you all. Just plug in Fox Beyer, FOX like the animal, BEYER, and you can download any of those for free. Anybody who is listening, just fire me an email at foxbeyer.com, FOXBEYER.com. Request a copy of the book, and I'll send you a copy for free. If you feel like I'm somebody who you could benefit by speaking to your organization, I would do it for free travel and speaking as well, I think that success is one thing, impact is another, and I'd like to have a positive impact on as many people as I could, because it would help me as much as it would help somebody else.
Absolutely, man. I love your heart, man. You got all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's been good to me. It's been good to me.
Hey, man, you gotta use what's working.
Exactly, man. You got to click on the same parts of your body. You know, good point. I have a friend of mine, an ex-player of mine, Johnny Tucker, and I'm constantly throwing batting practice to Johnny the last 5 years for Somerset, and he goes, "Why do you throw so much?" I keep telling him, "Johnny, my arm is the only sane part of my body." And every day he teases me about that when he calls me. "Oh, the only sane part of your body, huh? Well, then I shouldn't listen to a darn word you're saying, because I guess your head's messed up." But yeah, like you said, Dr. Hart, we have to use what's working. So,
exactly. Yeah, and be willing and leave room for transformation too.
There's the word. Be able to transform yourself day by day by understanding that you are way more powerful than you realize. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. No day is easy. I mean, you have a right to your feelings, but even if positive thoughts won't work, negative thoughts, they'll kill you. So go on the positive side.
Yeah, we got to bring people out of the dark side and into the light side.
Sure. 100%.
So can you provide us with one more poem before we let you go?
Absolutely. Do you want to pick a theme for me, Dr. Hart, and I'll go off a theme that you give me? Let's do that.
Let's see. You got anything with relationships? I'm a hopeful romantic.
You are in luck. I have one called Bad Apologies. So,
okay.
If you or anybody out there has had a relationship severed through technology or social media, this is the poem for you, and it's called Bad Apologies. Cell phones, tablets, and notebooks took the world so forcefully it shook. And with all these new technologies, to the world were born more bad apologies. You see, with these things, it's become so easy to disguise. With a text, you can simply tell a white lie. If in your mind a date creeps some doubt, you can say, "Sorry, I've fallen ill. I can't come out." And if you find yourself in that gauntlet, you can pull out your wingman, a tablet, and employ that trusty trick that never fails, saying, "I think we're done. Sorry," via email. You see, Wi-Fi might seem to create a great divide. Social media looks like a brilliant disguise, but anybody with a soul can read between the lines. Cell phones, tablets, and notebooks took the world so forcefully it shook. With all these new technologies, to the world were born more bad apologies.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. That's an awesome poem. I'm definitely going to pick up. Well, you send me out a book. I just remember that. Yeah,
I did. It should be there. You give me a buzz in the next 3 days if it's not there, and I'll get you another one. Okay.
Awesome. I'm going to definitely be diving into it. And from what you share from us, I know it's an awesome book. So I'm looking forward to just diving into it and staying connected with you, man. And
absolutely.
I hope a lot of the listeners out there, replay viewers out there, get a chance to have the same blessing that I have had today, and just stay connected with an awesome person. So that's great.
Thank you, Dr. Hart. Let's do this again soon, no?
Yeah, well, definitely. We'd definitely like to have you back on again, and we've had a great time here. And so, and just one more time to provide us with that website, and then we'll end right there.
Sure. My website again is foxkbeyer.com. FOXKBEYER.com. There you can get connected with me on all the social media networks. Plus, get on to my Podbean and iTunes podcast account. Again, all those poems are for free. There is a link page on there for my book, which, again, if you just email me, foxbeyer@gmail.com, you can get it for free. If you want to buy it, you can certainly buy it off my site, but explore that and let's get connected.
Nice. Lovely. Now, I always ask everybody a question about the current election season here, and and what we're going through. What are your thoughts on the current election with the presidential race?
Oh boy, here it goes. I'll say this. I'm not one to delve into that, but boy, every year I certainly have a better year than the president. In other words, I would not want to have President Obama's job. I think he's a great man. I think that all the candidates that are vying for the presidency now are great people, and they have the people's best interest at heart, although they do it in different ways. I don't know who I'm going to vote for yet, although I am going to vote.
Yeah.
And I have a good vibe that this country, knock on wood, is going in the right direction. Okay, no.
Yeah, I like that, man, and I like that. And a lot of my guests has been sharing the same viewpoint here that you just gave us. So, man, it's like you said, no judgment. Feel free to judge, but be willing to transform.
Exactly. I mean, you put yourself in their shoes and look back out at the world. Doggone it, that's a bear of a job.
Yep. And so kudos to anybody who's up for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that being said, we just thank Fox once again for being on with us. And if you want to be a part of our growing community of the world's leading experts, such as Fox himself, who's an amazing man, a fabulous man, feel free to reach out to us by visiting our website at transformubroadcast.com. That's transform the letter U, broadcast.com. It hooked up with a free membership so you can connect with like-minded individuals and their friends and my friends, and then you bring your friends, we all be friends, and, be willing to transform. And once again, that's transformubroadcast.com. I hope to see you on the next segment. We'll be back on live again at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, chatting with the international bestseller, David Chatfield. So join us back again and replay this over and over and over again once you have access to the recording archive. You can just connect with this awesome person here that I just spoke with, and that's Fox himself. Until then, blessings, peace, and love to each and every one of you guys. Have a blessing.